25%. That's the tariff the United States just imposed on advanced semiconductors from Taiwan. But here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't about protecting American jobs. This is about weaponizing the most strategic choke point in global technology against China. And if you think this is just another trade policy, you haven't been paying attention to what happens when artificial intelligence meets geopolitics, meets the world's most critical supply chain. Let me walk you through something that's unfolding right now. A semiconductor crisis that could reshape the global balance of power, and why the next 90 days could determine whether we see a technology Cold War or something far more dangerous. I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. This is purely educational analysis based on publicly available information that anyone can verify. But by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Taiwan just became the most valuable piece of real estate on Earth, and why precious metals are surging as the backup plan. Wednesday, January 15th, 2026. President Trump signs an executive order. The United States will now collect customs duties on chips as they are brought to America from foreign manufacturing, before they're shipped to final customers in China and other markets. The target is specific: advanced semiconductors, the kind that power artificial intelligence. The victim is clear: Nvidia Corporation. Let me explain why this matters. Nvidia doesn't manufacture chips, they design them. The actual production happens at Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, the most advanced chip foundry on Earth. Here's how it worked before Trump's order. Nvidia designs the H200 AI processor. TSMC manufactures it in Taiwan. The chip goes directly to customers in China. No tariffs, clean supply chain. Here's how it works now. Nvidia designs the H200. TSMC manufactures it in Taiwan. The chip must come to the United States first. 25% tariff gets paid. Then it ships to China. Think about that for a second. A chip made in Taiwan for a Chinese customer must transit through America just to collect a tax. That's not trade policy, that's weaponization. Now let me show you why this goes deeper than Nvidia's profit margin. In December 2025, Trump personally approved Nvidia's sale of H200 chips to China. 1 month later, he imposes a 25% tariff on those exact same chips. Why the reversal? Because something changed. On January 16th, 2026, the United States and Taiwan signed a comprehensive trade agreement. Taiwan's Prime Minister Cho Jung-tai called it the best tariff deal for countries that sell more to the US than they import. The United States said the agreement will ensure massive reshoring of America's semiconductor sector. Reshoring. That's the key word. Bringing chip manufacturing back to American soil. But here's the problem. Building a semiconductor fab takes 7 to 10 years. We don't have 7 years. China's AI development is happening now. Their military applications are advancing now. The technology race is now. So what do you do when you can't build fast enough? You weaponize the choke point you still control? Taiwan. Let me show you why Taiwan matters so much. TSMC produces roughly 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Not 50%, not 70%, 90%. Every AI data center, every advanced weapon system, every autonomous vehicle, every cutting-edge technology that defines modern civilization. They all depend on chips from one island, Taiwan. And that island is claimed by China. Beijing views Taiwan as Chinese territory. Always has, always will. Now imagine you're China. You're watching the United States sign a comprehensive trade deal with territory you consider your own. You're watching America impose tariffs that make it more expensive for you to buy the AI chips you need for economic and military development. You're watching your primary technological vulnerability get weaponized against you in real time. How do you respond? China already showed us. December 2025, China imposed export controls on silver, a critical material for electronics manufacturing and solar panels. January 2026, silver surged 29% year to date, after gaining 141% in 2025. That's not coincidence. That's retaliation, resource nationalism, the weaponization of critical materials. And it's working. Physical silver premiums hit 8.5% over spot. Dealers report inventory constraints. Industrial users are panic buying. This is what happens when technology competition becomes geopolitical warfare. Every critical resource becomes a weapon. But let's get back to the chips, because the Taiwan situation is more dangerous than most people realize. The United States-Taiwan trade agreement triggered immediate backlash from Beijing. China opposes any deal that suggests Taiwan is a separate sovereign entity. But America didn't just sign a trade deal. We weaponized Taiwan's semiconductor dominance through tariff policy. We're essentially saying to China, you want advanced AI chips? You'll pay a 25% premium. And that money goes to the United States, not Taiwan, not you. That's economic warfare, and China knows it. Now add another layer. Trump announced 10% tariffs on 8 European countries. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, UK, Netherlands, Finland. The stated reason? Until an agreement is reached for the full and complete sale of Greenland. Greenland, an Arctic territory with massive rare earth mineral deposits, strategic military positioning, and increasingly accessible shipping routes due to climate change. Do you see the pattern? Semiconductors from Taiwan, silver from China, rare earths from Greenland. These aren't random trade disputes. This is a systematic attempt to control every critical technology input: chips, metals, minerals, energy. Whoever controls these resources controls artificial intelligence development, controls military technology, controls the 21st century economy, and precious metals are the insurance policy. When supply chains weaponize, when trade routes close, when geopolitical tensions escalate, money flows to assets nobody can restrict. Gold hit $4,641. Silver crossed $90, both metals sending the same signal. The global technology supply chain is fragmenting, resource nationalism is accelerating, and physical assets matter more than paper promises. Let me show you what happens next. The Taiwan chip tariff forces a choice. Option 1. Nvidia absorbs the 25% cost. Profit margins collapse, stock price suffers, shareholders revolt. Option 2. Nvidia passes the cost to Chinese customers. AI development in China becomes 25% more expensive. Development slows, America gains time. Option 3. China finds alternative suppliers. But there are no alternative suppliers for advanced chips. Not at TSMC's level, not for years. Option 4. China invades Taiwan. Secures the semiconductor supply chain by force. Triggers World War III. I'm not predicting option 4 happens tomorrow, but I am saying the incentive structure just shifted dramatically. Every day Taiwan remains independent. Every day TSMC keeps producing chips under Western influence. That's a strategic vulnerability for China. And Trump's tariff just highlighted that vulnerability in the most aggressive way possible. Here's what concerns me most. This isn't just about chips anymore. The artificial intelligence boom is driving unprecedented demand for data centers. Data centers need massive amounts of electricity. Electricity infrastructure requires silver. According to industry reports, AI's expansion is fueling demand for metals in the data centers powering the technology. So the chip tariff doesn't just impact semiconductors, it impacts the entire AI infrastructure stack. Less Chinese AI development means less data center construction, less electricity demand, less silver consumption, unless China decides to accelerate domestic development despite higher costs, in which case silver demand explodes because they'll need even more infrastructure to compensate for the technology disadvantage. Either way, the metal markets are reacting, and they're not waiting to see how it plays out. Now let me address the obvious question. Can't China just buy chips from other countries? Theoretically, yes. Practically, no. The most advanced chips, the ones that matter for AI and military applications, come from TSMC, period. Samsung in South Korea makes advanced chips, but they're one generation behind TSMC, and South Korea is a US ally. They'll follow American pressure. Intel is trying to build advanced fabs in the United States, but they're years away from TSMC's capabilities, and they're focused on US government and defense contracts first. So China's options are limited. Take the tariff, slow down development, or secure Taiwan. That's why this matters. That's why Taiwan just became the most strategically valuable territory on Earth. And that's why precious metals are insurance. Because if this escalates, if supply chains collapse, if technology warfare becomes actual warfare, physical assets are the only thing you can trust. The United States and Taiwan trade agreement isn't just economics, it's a declaration. Taiwan is aligned with the West. TSMC's production serves Western interests. And China's access is conditional. Conditional on good behavior, conditional on tariff payments, conditional on accepting a subordinate position in the technology hierarchy. Do you think China accepts that long term? Do you think Beijing watches its technological development get throttled by American tariffs and Taiwan independence and does nothing? History suggests otherwise. Rising powers don't accept subordination peacefully. Here's what I think people are missing. This isn't about 25% tariffs on chips. This is about who controls the means of production for artificial intelligence. AI is not just another technology, it's the technology that determines everything else. Military superiority, economic growth, social control, global influence. Whoever leads in AI leads in everything. And AI requires chips, advanced chips, from Taiwan. Trump's tariff just turned Taiwan into the nuclear option of technology warfare, and China knows it. So what happens next? Either Taiwan becomes even more valuable and America invests heavily in protecting it, or China decides the risk of losing access is greater than the risk of taking action. Both scenarios are bullish for precious metals, because both scenarios mean geopolitical instability, supply chain disruption, resource nationalism, the exact conditions where gold and silver thrive. You don't have to believe me, but you should verify the facts. Read the executive order on semiconductor tariffs. Review the US-Taiwan trade agreement. Check silver's performance since China imposed export controls. Look at TSMC's market dominance. Understand the AI infrastructure requirements. Follow the money flowing into physical metals. It's all public, all verifiable. And when you see it, you'll understand this isn't hype. This is artificial intelligence meeting geopolitics meeting the world's most critical supply chain. And precious metals are the only assets without counterparty risk. The only assets that don't depend on Taiwan's independence, or China's cooperation, or America's tariff policy. The only assets that have value regardless of who controls the semiconductor supply chain. The Taiwan chip crisis is here. It's real. It's accelerating metal prices right now. And the window to position before this becomes common knowledge is closing fast. If you want to follow along as this unfolds, I'll be tracking every development. Do you think the chip tariff pushes China toward action on Taiwan in the next 12 months? Drop your thoughts below. This might be the most important technology story of 2026.